As you sit here right now, like this very moment, you probably have access to information and data that can help you take your marketing to the next level. Whether you're someone just starting out, or you're starting a group practice, or you've expanded to multiple locations, all of us therapists can relate to the same issue. We need more referrals, right? Whether it be for ourselves or for others. Getting referrals is the name of the game. Now, when it was myself, and I'm currently an active therapist, so I see clients, I have to build my own caseload, I have a group practice, I build others' caseloads. I know the pain. You know, when I first started out, it was kind of like throwing spaghetti at the wall. I would have a directory listing here, I would hear about this directory, that sounded good, I'd sign up for it, I would try market, all sorts of things, right? But I never really knew why I was doing it other than someone told me it was good or I heard someone say that it worked for them, but nothing really stuck. And so I really always felt kind of helpless when it came to marketing. But the truth is, we don't need to be helpless. We don't need to continue throwing spaghetti at the wall. And what we need to do in order to start marketing the right way is we start with the little information that we do have and we begin building off of it. You might be a little bit confused, but I'm going to show you exactly what we need to do in this video. But good marketing always starts with having the right data. All right. I want to warn you, never start just throwing spaghetti at the wall. This is how we waste money. This is how we waste time. And the good news is, and like I said just a couple minutes ago, you have access to the data to begin marketing well, like right now. And I'm actually going to show you how to access that data. Now, as always, we're going to do this in raw form here. There's no editing to this video. I'm going to just show you the blog post that I recently wrote, and we'll use this as the discussion highlights for this video. Okay, we just did the introduction and the problem. Essentially, what's the problem? We all need more referrals, and most of us as therapists, we don't have the business background, the marketing background, so we feel helpless. This is a problem, right? So what exactly is the solution? That's what we're here for. That's why we're making the video. All right, so the solution, in my opinion, at least when we're starting, is to have the right data, which then informs the decisions we make about marketing. Let me just give you a quick example. Let's imagine we are aware of where every single referral came from over the last year. And we realized that 20 came from Psychology Today and 2 came from ZocDoc. You would know that it's worthwhile investing more into Psychology Today, whether that be revamping the profile so it works even better, or maybe we're gonna make another Psychology Today profile for our other therapists in the practice. But we know that Psychology Today works, right? So we can take that information and we could do something with it. And if we found out that maybe only 2 came from ZocDoc, well, maybe we need to make adjustments. Maybe that's not working in our area or the profile's not working, but we know that that is an issue. So we need to address that issue. Or maybe we spent $500 on Google Ads and we got 2 active clients from them, but they stayed for 20 sessions each. So we were able to make that $500 back, and that was a good ROI. So now we can invest more into Google Ads. You see, the point is that we need the data to make the decisions about marketing, okay? So let me just cut to the chase here. You might be wondering, well, what data do we collect? Now, we're not sitting here trying to be data scientists, right? We are therapists, we have clients to see. So let's start simply, okay? I encourage these 4 different data, they're not data, I'm not a data scientist, what am I saying? Data set? Let me just read these 4 things to you, okay? This is the data I would start collecting. Number 1, how many leads / referrals are you getting? Really simple, right? You can do this in an Excel sheet. You can do this in a CRM if you want to be really fancy. In fact, I actually have a CRM you can access. I'll leave a description down below. But the point is, we want to collect how many leads we're getting. So let's just say it's May, right? And you're just tracking every call, every email, however many calls come in or emails, track it in a spreadsheet. We want to know that number, okay? We also want to know where those leads or referrals are coming from. Now, this will never be perfect. We may not always know, but if it's coming from Psychology Today, you clearly get an email from there. The directories, it's easy, right? They call or they email, and the directory lets you know that that's where that referral came from. If people are calling you on the phone, take a second to ask, hey, how'd you find us? Really important question. So as best as we can, we want to also know where our referrals came from. So one column, the number, the next column, where the referral came from, right? And just those 2 pieces of information alone are going to be huge. And you can tell that just having that, if you have that over the last year, last 6 months, you're going to make much more informed decisions about how to market, okay? We also want to know how many people are converting into clients. So out of all those leads, out of all those referrals, how many became active clients? That's called a conversion, right? And then finally, I would also try to figure out what the average value of a client is. This is also very, very important, right? Now, we find the average value of a client this way. This is how we do it. You are going to kind of figure out how many current clients, how many active clients you have in the practice, right? And you want to know what the average number of sessions are that a person has in your practice. So you would take all the clients you have and you would total all the sessions they've had and you'd find the average. Let's say the person who's been there with you the longest has had 80 sessions and you've had some people go 2 sessions and then not follow up again. You're going to have the average number of sessions and then you're going to take the average value of a session. For most therapists, we have like one rate, right? Let's make it up. Maybe it's $100. So maybe we find out that on average, an average client comes for 20 sessions before discharging, and that the average value of each session is $100. So we do 20 times 100, and this is the average value of a client, okay? Now that number is going to be really helpful in terms of how much we invest in marketing. To go back to the Google example, let's imagine for a moment you spent $500 on an ad, right? And you only got 1 or 2 clients, but each of those clients is worth $2,000, right, in the lifetime. And we have that number because of the average client value, right? Now it's not perfect, but it works well. That means that we spent $500 to get $4,000 of value. Pretty good ROI. But you can tell that having that information empowers you to spend the proper amount on Google Ads, to not go too little, not to go too much. And so we want to collect the data, okay? Let me make sure I'm still recording here. Yep, we're still live, okay. Okay, and I already kind of just touched on this, but we want to also analyze that data, right? How many referrals we're getting, where are they coming from? So where do we put our efforts? Which one do we keep? Which one do we not keep? We just did the Google Ads, right? That's kind of analyzing the data. We don't need these, big elaborate formulas, but we just need kind of ballparks so that we can make decisions, all right? So we also want to analyze that data. Now you might be asking, this is great, how do we collect the data? Now this is actually what I wanted to show you. We can collect it in a few ways. One, we can do spreadsheets, right? This is probably the easiest, but as you start to grow, it becomes a little tedious. But spreadsheets, one way to do it, manual entry, right? That kind of thing. We could do it in a CRM, right? This is something that I use, right? This is called a client relationship manager. It's kind of like an EHR for marketing. Really helps me organize a lot of things. I can collect a lot of information. I can run reports, and it's pretty good. If that's something you're interested in, again, I have a link down below. You can check that out. And then the way we can actually start to pull data is actually from our EHRs. So I currently use Simple Practice, and a very underutilized feature is the reporting feature. And I actually want to walk you through that really quick now. That's me. Let's do this. Nope, not that. There we go. All right, so this is a test account, all right? So there's no real information in here. And most EHRs will probably have something similar, but I really do like Simple Practice's robust reporting feature. So on the left-hand, let's just go to the basics. If we do the login to Simple Practice, you typically log right into the calendar. It looks like this. On the left-hand side, we click Analytics, and we can click Reports. And from here, we can do a whole bunch of stuff. We won't go through all of it today, but we can click Attendance. This is going to give us, we can also export this as an Excel. But right here, we can do a lot of filtering, right? What locations, the status, they show, not show. We can see how many appointments people had, right? So we can start to figure out what the average number of sessions people have are, right? So we can run an attendance report, right? If we go back to Analytics and Reports, we can do an appointment status report. This will start giving you numbers and session fees and things like that, right? Again, you can filter through client, you can filter through clinician and dates, and you can export this and then take that information and play around with it in Excel or Sheets if you want. And so I really want to encourage you to use the reporting feature on your EHR. You can access this right now, and it will give you insights that are valuable and will pay off in the long run. And it's totally free. You can just start accessing that information right now. And so I just wanted to I wanted to make this video because when I first started to really tap into marketing, I was truly clueless. But I didn't know that I actually had access to the information I needed to not be clueless. And you have access to that too. So I want to encourage you, the entryway to marketing well is at your fingertips. So start running some reports, start collecting this data. You can even do it retroactively, right? And again, it does not have to be perfect, but we just want to inform ourselves so that we make good decisions about marketing. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope you learned something. And until next time, I will see you in the next video.